Welcome into the box score. Tia Collins along with Murphy Fair and Justin Malden doing all the hard work behind the scenes. And Murphy, it's playoff time.
It's the best time of year as far as I'm concerned. These are the ones that really count. Those first 11 weeks is just trying to figure out on what line everybody's name is going to be. But this week should be the start of something big, I believe. Some
good teams have missed the playoffs. I know one in our area, DeKalb County, finished at 6-4. But let's go ahead and talk about Watertown. They're in the playoffs. They beat Community 41-0. Got that lead by halftime against the Community team that has very much struggled this year at 0-10. Waldorf, another big night for the Purple Tigers in his return, 292 yards total offense, 250 for Community, and a lot of that came on Watertown's second, third, fourth units.
Community has indeed had a very tough go of it this year, and they've got their work cut out for them. They didn't win a single game. They weren't even close in any of those 10 ball games, and I'm not sure how long Coach Grooms is going to be around. We'll just have to wait and see how that program goes. They've got a lot of kids over there because that part of Bedford County is growing so fast. I think, aren't they going to be in 3A this coming fall?
I think that's correct.
Next fall, I mean?
Right. Yeah. And it looks like 6 touchdown passes there for Blake Waldorf. So, he was very efficient in his night. Let's go ahead and look at the Sonica Carthage individual stats. Blake Waldorf, as we said, 6 touchdowns, 12 of 16, 263 yards. Ethan Owen, a big night, 4 receptions for 100 yards, a couple of scores. J.C. Bratcher, 3 receptions, 76 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the Vikings out of Unionville, Tennessee. Niles Burnett, 10 of 22, 89 passing yards. He had 28 rushing yards. And Charles Haskins, the leading receiver for Community High School, 3 receptions for 62 yards. But it was all Watertown.
A lot of gunslingers on the football field would love to have a 75% passing efficiency, right. But that's what Blake had, and just a really good night. That kind of just added insult to injury as far as Community was concerned. Not only did they throw the ball effectively, but had some good receivers that made Blake look really good as well.
Looking at the Upperman and DeKalb game, that game was played on Thursday night. Upperman goes to Smithville and wins it 44-14. Ethan Polk, a huge game for the Bees, 20 carries for 319 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Coach Adam Kane's team has finished number 1, I think, in the AP poll, and they've been sitting there quite a while. The quarterback, Ronson Chaffin, is getting some Power 4 conference looks. 3 of 4, 55 yards passing, and then the ground game, 10 rushes for 52 yards and a score. For DeKalb County, Jordan Parker, 4 of 11 for 48 yards. They had a big night on the ground, 19 carries for 151 yards, but it was just too much bees, Murph.
I think a lot of people in the Upper Cumberland weren't real sure about Adam Kane when he first came to Baxter to be in charge of the Upperman football program, but there's no doubt right now he's done a great job, and everywhere he's been, most of his coaching was at the college level, but he's been at Sequatchie and now Upperman, and done a great job at both of those places. He really knows his football and knows it well.
Definitely has. We will speak to the Gordonsville head coach, Stephen Jackson, a little bit later in this show, and looking at their stats, a very disappointing loss for them. They were up 35-21 in the early stages of the fourth quarter, and about a 4.5 minute of time of play. Clay County, the host in Salina, going a 21-0 run to get the win, 42-35. Mike Dickerson, of course, the defensive coordinator and the principal up at Clay County. I talked to him after the game, and he was just talking about how good Nate Adams is. 22 of 35, 321 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. I know there are a lot of people in that region that are glad that I think Nate Adams is a senior. You look at Burchett, 11 receptions, 196 yards, and a couple of scores. And Clay County now, Murphy, is going to get to play all their games at home as long as they keep winning. Turner Booker was 14 carries, 130 yards and a couple of touchdowns. His touchdown came on the first play of the fourth quarter, and then in about 4 minutes, Clay County goes on that 21-0 run. Some of that due to turnovers, but Jamario Williams, 9 rushes for 126 yards and a couple touchdowns before he got hurt. But it was just a tough night for the Tigers and Steven Jackson. I'm sure they'll rebound. They lost Jay Foster, but they got Mason Cross, as a capable backup. And they've got a very, very tough team when we talk about the playoffs. We'll get into that a little bit more when Chattanooga Prep, a team they beat by 1 point a year ago, comes back to Turney Ford Field.
Everybody who's watching this needs to stick around for that interview with Coach Jackson. I was really pleased with what he had to say. They've got a good offensive line, and most of those skill people that got hurt last week, they were running the show the first 3 or 4 games of the season, and now it's not like they're just throwing a bunch of freshmen and sophomores that have never seen that kind of situation, and I look for that game to be a lot closer than a lot of people might think.
Clay County had 423 yards of total offense in that game to win it. Looking at the Smith County and Monterey game, it was not very good, not very close. Monterey held Smith County to negative 23 yards in the first half, minus 18 yards through 3 quarters. Smith County, with the second unit, did our first unit against their second unit, and their second unit as well did get 39 yards of offense to get to 21 yards. But credit Monterey. Cole Bowman's had an outstanding career. He was one, I think, of 10 or 11 seniors. He had 14 carries, 162 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Colin Fowler, who they had at running back and at quarterback, 17 rushes, 83 yards, and the other 3 scores. And then Blaylock, 6 rushes for 88 yards, including a 64-yarder there on the second drive. So Monterey just used that ground game. They didn't have to go to the air because they were so dominant on the ground, and it was a running clock in the second half in Monterey's 40-0 win. That means they finished 3rd, Smith County 4th. So Monterey, as we see a little bit later, will head to Chapel Hill to play against Forest High School. Murphy, when you look at these games that we look at every week, unfortunately, some of these teams, their season's over. Others are going on the road for the playoff. Gordonsville plays at home. Canyon County goes on the road to Westmoreland. You've got the Cab, of course, missed the playoffs. Gordonsville is home against Chattanooga Prep, and then Smith has to go to Marion. Some of the places that our teams, and when I say our teams, the teams that we cover are having to go are tough places to go and win.
I remember when I first moved to the Upper Cumberland back in 1974. I'm dating myself a little bit, but Monterey was just a wide spot in the road. There wasn't hardly, I think they had 1 traffic light, maybe 2, but that area is starting to bust at its perimeter.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good football team. Coach Hughes has done a great job up there. He's got some big country boys that are probably loggers in their part-time, but they're not all linemen. You let me know that they're also running backs are 220 or 30 pounds.
Right.
And a lot of these high school kids at the 2A level, that's what Marion County has, is a 200-pound ball carrier.
Right.
And it's the teams in our coverage area, I'm afraid, are going to have a really tough time this week.
Right. And it wouldn't surprise me if all 4 got beat. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying the teams that they're playing against are very, very good teams. And 3 of those games, of course, are going to be on the road.
That's right. And that's always tough pill to swallow.
We'll have a look at the brackets we'll have an interview with Coach Steven Jackson from Gordonsville when we return, as we remind you watching the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
At DTC, we're constantly looking at ways to improve your quality of life, to help you make the most of all your connections so that you'll have time for the things that matter most, whether at work or play.
Score the best connection with internet that slays. Receive a free month of service when you add or upgrade your internet package with DTC. It's a great time to get started.
Call or visit DTC online today and make the most of your connections.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines is a proud supporter of athletic programs throughout the area, including high school football and high school basketball. To learn more about us, please visit us at our website, www.nearstar.com. Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines.
With head coach Stephen Jackson of the Gordonsville Tigers. And coach, I know a very disappointing game for your team last week for the region championship. You go to Clay County and early stages of the fourth quarter, you take the 35-21 lead, but unfortunately you lost Jay Foster and Jamario and made some turnovers, and in about a 2-3 minute span there, they turned the tables and went on a 21-0 run.
That's right. And I mean, it was a really, crazy game, crazy kind of how it was. We fumbled the opening kickoff, and they go down, score the next play. But I think there was 28 points scored in the first 4 minutes of the ball game. Just a wild game. Like you said, we had a couple kids go out, and then Turner Booker that was running really well for us after Jamario went down. He goes down, I think it was 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So it was just, had a lot of adversity, but, hats off to Clay County. They, we talked about it all week, like they're never out of a football game because they have a bunch of really good receivers and a really good quarterback that can put the ball in playmakers' hands. So, we had a chance at the end with a minute to go. I think it was on the 35-yard line. So we had chances, we kind of hurt ourselves at times.
Stephen, the majority of your coaching experience at the high school level, I think, probably came at Oakland. And before we started this interview, you referenced the fact that Oakland experienced something like that against Whitehaven down in Memphis. And sometimes when that other team is loaded with the kind of talent that Chattanooga Prep has, you've got to be prepared for that sort of thing just any moment, I guess.
That's right. And I mean, it's football's a really fun sport, but it's a sport that, any time during the ball game, you can get kids banged up. You watch college games and people are getting banged up every play, and it's, you just got to have a next man up and make plays.
Coach, you had 4 turnovers, and any time you've got 2 teams that are close, that hurts you. No doubt played a big ball game, big part in the ball game. But it's like you said, y'all were doing it on the ground game, had 328 yards on the ground, where they're doing it through the air. They had 339 yards passing, kind of a testament of 2 wheels.
That's right, and I think we was close, if I'm not mistaken, close to 300 yards in the first half. I mean, it was the ground game was going good. Lyman was blocking good. I mean, it was a situation where Jamario and Booker had done a great job of getting to that second to third level and is making that one person miss. And, Jamario had 2 long runs. Booker had a long run. So it like you said, ours was on the ground. Theirs was through the air. Like I said, they got a really good quarterback and a bunch of really good receivers.
Stephen, injuries and great football games oftentimes seem to happen at the same time, and I've seen that happen time and time again. I know you have too. Why do some of the main key members of your football team get hurt in a situation that was the biggest game of the year? And obviously that played a big part in Chattanooga Prep being able to score that many points in that short period of time.
Clay County, I'm sorry, I'm getting my games mixed up. Thanks, Terry.
Right, yeah, I mean, that's how we feel, but I mean, it's also, like I said, there's a really good football team. Clay County's a really good football team that has a really good offense. I mean, that makes plays, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You're discouraged because of the injuries. Think what could have happened, but I mean, try to talk to our kids all the time about football's a great sport. We want to win every football game, but you're also learning life lessons and playing football. And sometimes you get handed something that's not what you wanted. You didn't want injuries to happen, obviously, but they happen. So you just got to fight through those injuries and be able to pull out a win.
I guess regardless of who you line up against, injuries always come at a time you don't expect it, don't they?
That's right. I mean, we've had, seems like our fair share this year. I was pretty fortunate last year to not have any, we had 2 season injuries last year. We've had 1 this year before Friday night with our tailback going out, Bryson Grissom, but that's just a part of the game.
Coach, when you look and you lose your 3 primary runners in Turner and Jamario, and then you talked about Bryson, then you throw in losing Jay Foster. I mean, you're down to 4th or 5th string as far as the tailback, and I think you wind up maybe taking a receiver and putting them at tailback just to fill the position with an athlete that might have a chance to break things.
That's right. I mean, and we've got a couple more that have gotten reps. We try to have a lot of running backs, that can play because of, just the toll it takes on you, throughout the season. You're going to get, bangs and bruises if you're running the ball 10 to 15 times a game. But yeah, we're down, to, about a fourth string tailback. I mean, I think Booker will be able to play this week, so that'll be good. But we've got some guys that have played running back in the past that we've moved to different positions this year that will get some carries this week.
There's always a silver lining, Coach, when something like this happens, and I guess if there is one, they have no idea what to expect out of your ground game this week.
That's right. I mean, and that's the thing. We try to each week find out which one, which couple plays is our best run game, and it's the same thing this week with just different guys that we're going to try to fit in there and know their strengths, know what they can do well, and try to get the ground game going this week.
Coach, I know your team's disappointed, like every team, I guess, in the state of Tennessee. When you start out in week 1, you want to win a region championship. You put yourself in that position, but I guess second, you still get to host the playoff game. But how disappointed have your kids been with the injuries and the loss this week in practice?
Well, I think this week probably this weekend they was, disappointed, but I think we've come out and had a great day yesterday and going, kids are here today working out and stuff, getting ready for it. But, this time of the year, you can't look at the past. We talk to our kids all the time about flushing the play before, whether it was a good play or a bad play, flush the week before, because it's all about playoff time, and you got to go 1-0, and you got to win by 1 point.
Coach, the burden is now upon the shoulders of your offensive line. I'm assuming they know the responsibility they have this week is bigger than it's ever been all season long. How are they taking to that, and what's your thought on that?
Well, we have 11 seniors on our football team, and 7 of them play in the offensive line or a tight end or a fullback position. So, I think they're up to the challenge. They're guys that we've, leaned on all year to be able to run the football. Middle of the year, we was kind of banged up in the offensive line, but having them all back now is huge. And but I think they're, ready for the challenge. I think they want to, any kind of offensive lineman, they want to run block. We want to, try to get as many running yards as we can. So I think they're ready for the challenge.
Maybe some of those grunts up front will be the ones that are talked about the most next Monday and Tuesday. Who knows?
That's right.
Coach, when you look at Clay County's Nate Adams, outstanding athlete in several different sports, threw for 321 yards. But going back to now what your quarterback situation is going to be with Jay Foster out, you don't have somebody that has no experience. You have Mason Cross,
right,
who I thought very efficiently ran your offense in the early part of the season.
Oh, he did a great job. And, that's the thing is Mason, even when Jay, middle of the year, kind of took the quarterback position and played most of the games going out, Mason still got every other rep in practice. So he's been a guy that's, got every other rep and, always asking questions about stuff. So he's ready for it. He's, was able to start the first 3 games of the year and did a really good job with our offense. And, I have a lot of trust in Mason.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you visiting with us. Best of luck against Chattanooga Prep this week, a rematch of last year's first-round game in Gordonsville at Turney Ford Field.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Good luck, Stephen.
And we'll have a look at the TWSAA playoffs when we return to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Got a special outdoor project that you need to tackle? BDGR Excavating is the one to call. Custom land clearing, mulching, excavation, and more. They can help get the job done, even when others have failed. Call the problem solvers at BDGR at 615-489-1329 and let them help you get that project out of the way so you can really start enjoying your property. BDGR Excavating.
Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines is a proud supporter of athletic programs throughout the area, including high school football and high school basketball. To learn more about us, please visit us at our website, www.nearstar.com. Nearstar Tennessee Zinc Mines.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Call Underwood Hometown Realty today. Our experienced team of professionals is here to guide you every step of the way. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to sell, we make the process smooth and stress-free. With deep roots in the community, we know the local market inside and out. Let us help you find your dream home or get the best value for your current one. Call Underwood Hometown Realty now at 615-683-3300, where hometown service meets real estate expertise.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
And Welcome back to the Box Score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. We're going to talk about the playoffs in 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and 6A. A lot of area teams in those. We want to thank our sponsors, which is Carthage Safeway, our title sponsor, Huff and Puff Trucking, Near Star, Sonic of Carthage, Underwood Hometown Realty, and BDGR Excavating. Murph, when you look at the playoffs, unfortunately, some teams didn't make it, but it's always excitement and extra practice for the teams that did.
The thing I always look forward to, and as long as I can remember, there's always been at least 2 or 3, sometimes 5 or 6, number 4 seeds knock off a number 1 seed, and you know that's going to happen this year. And it could very well happen to one of the teams in our coverage area. I know we only have, 3 instead of, we've had all 5 in years past. 4, I'm sorry. But don't be surprised if one of those 4 doesn't knock off a higher seed this coming Friday night. It could happen.
Good, definitely good. Let's go ahead and look at the Class 1A playoff bracket. This is just Region 3 and 4 quadrants. We're just trying to mainly concentrate on the teams that are in our region. South Pittsburgh hosting Red Bull, and I'm afraid that won't be a game. But that next one, Gordonsville hosting Chattanooga Prep, that was a 1-point game, I think 13-12 a year ago. That should be a great one at Turney Ford Field.
You know, the coach at Chattanooga Prep has probably preached that every moment of every practice session this week about how they got beat last year.
Right.
And they've certainly got some momentum to come to Gordonsville and maybe avenge last year's setback.
Joe Burns going to Whitwell. That's a pretty long trip from the nearly to Springfield all the way to nearly to Chattanooga, or nearly to Jasper, where Smith County is going. I don't know that would be a very good game, and I don't know that Sale Creek can slow down the Clay County air attack.
If there's any chance at all that Sale Creek comes away with a win, it's because Jason Fitzgerald is coaching at Sale Creek. He's been at Ray County, he's been at Hickson, he's been at a couple of other places. He played at Auburn and knows his football inside and out, but I just don't think he's got the kids to play with the athletes that Clay County is going to have.
Class 2A playoffs, of course, Westmoreland hosting Cannon County years ago. That may have been a region game, Murph, but out of all the games there, you got Forest and Monterey. I think those top 2 games could be very good ones.
I do too. Don't put a whole lot of money on either one of those games because they could go either way. Forest, however, their really good freshman running back about midway through the season had an ACL tear, and he hadn't played in a month. If he was in the game, Monterey would have their hands full because that kid can scoot, and he's only a freshman. But I think Monterey's probably just going to be a little bit too much for him. But anything can happen. And at Chapel Hill, that does help a whole lot.
Fayetteville at East Robertson and Smith County with the dubious task of going to Jasper to play Marion County.
I know we need to talk about Smith County Marion, but that Fayetteville East Robertson game ought to be a dandy. I'm thinking seriously about going to that one because they're both loaded with athletes, loaded with speed. Fayetteville has played a very tough schedule this year, and they're going to give East Robertson all they want.
Of course, East Robertson lost, the Groves kid that was Mr. Football a year ago. They lost him. They've been involved in some close games. In fact, Monterey led them in the fourth quarter before East Robertson posted a 22-15 win in Cross Plains. That's a great facility at East Robertson, Murph. I know you can attest to that. Maybe the press box not as nice as the field and the stands and all that, but still, it's one of those, I don't know if you could just say special places to go play. They care a lot about their football, and it should be a great setting.
I think so, and it's right there at the interstate at Uncle Charlie's where you can buy some fireworks on the way.
That is true, unless you decide to go through Carthage and Hartsville and Gallatin down Highway 25.
There you go.
To try to get away from the traffic. Let's go ahead and look at the Class 3A playoffs. Of course, Grundy County, the number 4 seed, since Watertown beat them by 1 point.
Wow.
In the regular season. I think it was 45-44. They go to Meigs. Meigs is 7-3. Giles County hosting Tyner. Giles County's played an awfully tough schedule. Murphy, do you see any one of those being close?
I think the Tyner-Giles game will be pretty close. I really do, because both have a pretty good amount of speed. That's one that I had to study about a little while before I wrote my pick. But it wouldn't surprise me. Watertown's record is terribly deceiving. They started slow, but that's because they had so many freshmen and sophomores on the field a good deal of the time. I'm not real high on Chattanooga Central, and it wouldn't surprise me if Watertown gives them a big scare this week.
You look at the Pounders, Murph, I think the one thing that's hard to get used to is a quarterback that slings it all over the field, and that's what Blake Waldorf does, and that gives teams problems. You just take each week we see where somebody's threw for 300 or plus yards against teams that we thought were pretty good defensively, and yes, they can stop the run, but they have trouble stopping the pass.
I don't know if anybody knows the fact that both of those teams have the word purple in their mascot. It's right. The Purple Pounders against the Purple Tigers. That'll be a good one to watch, though, I think.
And then McMinn Central going to the Indians of Sequatchie County. The only thing about that, I talked to Joey Evans, the State Farm agent who's from Smith County. His son is the quarterback, and he's not sure that he's going to be able to play after an injury he suffered last week. So
is that a season-ending thing?
No, he didn't think so, but still, that could make that, Murphy, a lot closer game maybe than some people thought, just because, when your quarterback's missing, that hurts.
It'll be tough, but Sequatchie's the real deal this year. They really are, and I look for them. They could very well still be playing the third week of the playoff.
They beat South Pittsburgh and Marion County this year.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah, it is.
And that's all that matters to a lot of those people over that way, too.
Yeah, especially that Sequatchie-Marion game. That's a hate fest. Looking at the Class 4A playoffs, you got Loudon hosting Stone Memorial. But I tell you, all 4 of those teams, Murphy, from Region 4, they're battle tested.
They are, and that could be a sweep. I don't know. White County may be the team, the sleeper team. They've played awfully well this year. I kind of think Macon County's got a pretty good shot, even though they've got to go on the road. But Upperman and Loudon, those 2 teams, I think will probably be in the third round against each other, and that should be a war.
And when you look, that game would be at Upperman. I think Upperman stays at home the entire way.
I think you're right. As long as they win, they're playing in Baxter.
Right, and I think that's a big advantage, Murphy. Not only the crowd, but the wear and tear that you have on your team of getting on a bus, I don't care if it's a charter bus or not, and going an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours away.
That's a great facility, too, and should be a big night if they get that far.
Press box just not big enough at Upman. But Jimmy Maynard, the athletic director, says he's going to work on
fix that
in the offseason. Let's go ahead and look at the Class 6A playoffs. Of course, Chuck Gentry and his Blue Devils have got to go to Oakland. Oakland's only lost to Ravenwood in overtime. Coffee County, Murph, you think might have a chance at Mount Juliet?
They do. Lebanon almost beat Mount Juliet a couple of weeks ago. They lost it right in the last couple of minutes of the ball game, but that just goes to show you on any given night, anything can happen. And I think Cookeville will probably give Riverdale a little bit closer game than a lot of people might think. I believe Riverdale advances, but that Green Hill team down at the bottom may be one of the best ones in that whole part of the bracket.
Of course, they beat Mount Juliet slimly. That's Mount Juliet's only loss. And Green Hill and Mount Juliet basically sitting on top of each other 2 or 3 miles away.
Yeah.
That should be, a lot of people are wanting them to meet in that third round action. But I think Oakland and Green Hill are probably the 2 teams that'll face off there.
I think so too. Got some really good possibilities though, all throughout that 6A bracket.
Definitely does. We want to we're going to take a break, but before we do that, Murph, and we go into our picks, I think playoffs, you have to ratchet your game up. And I think what teams can do that, regardless of what seed they are, could make a deep playoff run even as a 3 or 4 seed.
Oh, I agree. And as likely as a number 4 beating a number 1, these second and third place teams in different regions have so many differences among them. Teams
right.
that maybe won a region going away, if they were in another region, they might do well to get in the playoffs.
Right.
You know,
that is for sure. We'll have a look at the picks in the game of the week for Huff and Puff Trucking when we return to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security Makeover today.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. There's never been a better time to get started.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security Makeover today.
Got a special outdoor project that you need to tackle? BDGR Excavating is the one to call. Custom land clearing, mulching, excavation, and more. They can help get the job done, even when others have failed. Call the problem solvers at BDGR at 615-489-1329 and let them help you get that project out of the way so you can really start enjoying your property. BDGR Excavating.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Call Underwood Hometown Realty today. Our experienced team of professionals is here to guide you every step of the way. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to sell, we make the process smooth and stress-free. With deep roots in the community, we know the local market inside and out. Let us help you find your dream home or get the best value for your current one. Call Underwood Hometown Realty now at 615-683-3300, where hometown service meets real estate expertise.
And welcome back here to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway, Terry Collins, Murphy Farron, Justin Malden, and let's go ahead and get into our football game night. It's Chattanooga Prep at Gordonsville in the 1A playoffs. It'll be live video only on at DTC3.tv and the DTC Communications Facebook page. Due to TWSLA restrictions, we'll leave it at that, but it should be a great night at Turney Ford Field. Murphy, Chattanooga Prep, a very, very good opponent.
Pretty good for a third place team. They play in a very tough region with South Pittsburgh and Whitwell both in there with them. But Gordonsville's a pretty good football team too, and because of the experience factor, I don't think they're expecting the team. I don't think Prep is expecting the team that's going to be there. And it's always fun to watch a game at Gordonsville, and I think Gordonsville may pull that one out. I really do.
Let's look at the East Tennessee matchups. Murph, take it away.
Well, Dobbins-Bennett has been red hot all season long, and no reason for them to stop. Farragut, I think, lost their first 5 games of the season, so that one was kind of a no-brainer. But it's one of those. There have been 2 or 3 times in the last 10 or 15 years where Dobbins Bennett was the #1 seed, and they got beat in the first round. Of course, they were having to face Maryville most of those times, I think, but nonetheless, I think DB wins that one. Loudon, I think, is a team of destiny. They got beat in the first round last year at Macon, or 2 years ago, I think, no, it was last year at Macon County, and the coach told me he was just flat out embarrassed in that game. And he and the kids over there have got something to prove, and I think they win that one big. Macon County, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Stone Memorial, Murphy. Laid an egg big time against Macon last week. Everybody thought that'd be a close game in Crossville, and Macon beats the stuff in that out.
That region's been really hard to call all season long. I thought you'd spotted another problem on my part.
No. Macon and Saudi Daisy should be a good one.
I think Macon County and their staff, their fans, their players, I think they've got something to prove also, and I think it starts at Saudi Daisy. I'm going with the Blue Tigers in Lafayette.
Middle Tennessee picks.
Here we go. Cookville and Riverdale. That could be an upset in the making, but I don't think so. Riverdale's got a really good football team. Sometimes they go with a 2-quarterback system, but I think Will Kreisky will have his team ready to go deep into the postseason. Monterey at Forest. That one's tough to call. Forest had a really good running back, freshman kid with lots of speed and power. Not big in size, but you couldn't stop the little guy. But he's not going to be dressed out. He went down mid-season or so, and I think Forest, Chapel Hill's a hard place to go and win, but I think Monterey just may have the people to do that this year. And then Fayetteville, East Robertson, boy, that one could go either way. That could be a high-scoring game, or if the defenses take over, it could be low-scoring. I just don't know which one to call, but I really think Fayetteville's got a chance to win that one.
Let's go ahead and look at the West Tennessee picks.
Henry County at Memphis Central. That game could very well be played where Memphis State used to play there in the city of Memphis, and Henry County surprised Hendersonville this past weekend and beat them pretty bad. So I think Henry County's got their problems taken care of, so to speak, and I think they come away with a win at Central.
Germantown at Clarksville.
That probably won't be close, although Germantown has dropped, I think, 3, maybe 4 games this year. But I just think there's too much athleticism for Coach Gene Robinson's team at Germantown. I'm going with them.
First round of the playoffs, it's fun to travel. Hendersonville gets to go all the way to Southwind, Murph.
That's a long trip. It's a long trip, but I think Southwind is probably just as good, if not a little better than they were last year. I think they had 1 loss, if that, and I'm guessing that the winner of that game will probably be Southwind.
Right. Let's go ahead and look at the local picks. Cannon County, the Lions going to the top seed out of Smith County's region, which is Westmoreland.
I don't know if Westmoreland has seen a team that does not huddle. That's the way Cannon County is. Of course, they'll see plenty of film on them, but they run a very fast-paced game, and I don't know that Westmoreland's seen a whole lot of that. That could be the main thing that keeps Cannon County in the ball game, but I think Westmoreland is probably a team that's destined to go at least 3 rounds this year.
Smith County going to Pumpy Tudorsville, Marion County and Jasper.
Absolutely. Marion's the real deal this year. It's been a while since they played in a state championship game, but I'm afraid they just may do it this year. They kind of handed Cannon County its hat a couple of weeks ago, and I have no reason to think they won't do that again against Smith County. Of
course, they're only 8-2. They did lose to Quachie earlier, and then I think Tyner was their other loss. Watertown going to Chattanooga Central and playing against the Pounders.
Watertown's a little better than most people might think. Losing those 3 or 4 kids at the very start of the season made life pretty tough for Coach Webster, but he's got those guys playing pretty well right now. I like the way they're playing. Chattanooga Central is always suspect, and I'm probably going out on a limb too far on that one, but I'm going to go with Watertown.
And then Chattanooga Prep at Gordonsville in our Huff and Puff trucking game of the week.
I think that's another upset in the making. Chattanooga Prep obviously is very athletic, very fast, but Gordonsville doesn't mind popping you a little bit every once in a while. And I think the 12th man, the fans, will make the big difference. I don't look for Chattanooga Prep to bring a lot of people, and that place will be rocking Friday night. I'm going to go with Gordonsville's Tigers.
We want to thank Justin Malden and all our fine sponsors. And for Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. Good night from the box score.